The Value Project Podcast, adding as much value as possible to inspire our listeners to achieve more out of life. Buckle up, it's about to get real.
Hey legends, and welcome back to The Value Project. I am James Rowdy and you are
Nate G.
This is episode number 5, and today we have a special guest on the podcast, Duncan McIntyre. Duncan is an entrepreneur, founder, and CEO of Growmofo and Duncan McIntyre Group. Duncan is 21 and has run multiple successful businesses throughout his life. Duncan, welcome.
Welcome, guys.
Yeah, welcome, bro. Welcome.
Mate,
Thanks for coming.
Mate, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. It's just saying to you guys before, it's sort of the first podcast I've done in my career. So yeah, I really appreciate coming on, and yeah, I'm excited to tell you a little bit about myself and my journey so far.
Amazing. Thanks for coming, mate.
Yeah,
So let's dive straight in. So you're 21 years old.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And-
Man, I wish I started when I was 21.
Dude,
Anyway.
the kids these days are
Yeah,
getting younger
I
and
know,
younger and
I know.
younger. It's crazy.
Yeah.
So let's rewind. So
Yeah.
just give our listeners a bit of history about who you are. You started your first business when you were 15.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Literally. So I'll give you guys a bit of background.
Yeah,
So
cool.
yeah, I was in school when I was 15 and effectively wasn't the best academic. But I was always interested in sort of entrepreneurial ventures, and I was always thinking about, the next and smartest way to do things. And when I was about 15, my old man actually, who's one of my best mates and has taught me a lot. He actually was a real estate agent just in my local suburb, and he was getting out of real estate. He was getting a bit tired, and he sort of stumbled across the idea of doing something in the tech field, which is very sort of reminiscent of where I'm at now. Um, but yeah, we effectively sort of started on this crazy wild journey when I was 15. My dad plucked me out of school, and he said, "Let's go over to India and figure out
Wow.
how to develop some technology and build a
Wow.
real estate app." It was effectively like a realestate.com competitor, but with more of a social element and taking a lot of the social media components of what we see today in LinkedIn and things like that, and effectively putting it into a real estate platform. So yeah,
How long did you spend in India?
we spent 2 weeks there.
Yeah.
It was a very interesting experience.
I bet.
We flew over, very entrepreneurial style startup. We flew on Air India, which was a bit of an interesting humbling experience from the old man, but that was pretty interesting. Turbulence every 10 minutes. So, but we got over there and we sort of started a journey. It was actually with an Australian business that we engaged. They were like a technology consulting firm.
Yep.
And very expensive one, if that. They're not around anymore. But we effectively, started meeting our development team over there, and I started learning a little bit about how to develop technology and how they were basically scaling their development team and business as a service. And we were obviously utilizing them for the platform. So that's where I sort of really got introduced to technology and developing it. And yeah, we basically built that business. I went from 15 to I was managing full-time employees when I was in year 11.
Wow.
Had a little office in Ridge Road, much humbler than the office I've got now. But we started off there and basically built it. We built it to 30,000 real estate agents in here. In Brussels, in Belgium.
So it was worldwide?
Yeah,
So,
it was worldwide. We effectively, and I'll touch on the journey of how we got to Europe, but because it was a Flemish-speaking country, I didn't speak the language.
Yeah.
But we were effectively, we were building that business up, and it was a very true startup. And I started getting into crypto. I
Yep.
was sort of, towards the end of being 16, and it was sort of the start of 2017. It was very before it got very hot. And we were, thinking of ways to scale the business, and I was thinking a lot about, tokenization and cryptocurrency and property. I thought it'd, be quite groundbreaking, which, it still hasn't really got there now, but back then, everyone was giving it a crack. So I started getting deep into the crypto community, basically was doing an ICO
At
to
16,
17. Yeah,
Wow.
so I was
17 doing an
17.
ICO.
Yeah,
Wow.
so I was
And what was the
this, we
cryptocurrency?
were the 5th ICO on Neo blockchain. Yeah, so like the Chinese.
And that
Oh,
was
no
was that
way.
2017?
Yeah, mid 2017. So
Yeah,
before the massive bull run, and then what was the eventual
I
crash?
remember
But
back in the
The
day,
shit,
Neo was
the
hot.
shitcoin era.
yeah, that was when the
Yeah,
old coins were pumping.
100%. That's when
Um,
Neo was hot back then.
It was hot. It was the first crypto I bought, so I
Yeah,
started sort of getting into it, and then I thought I was basically ICOs were getting very well taken up in new blockchains at the time, so you could foster the whole community pretty quickly. So yeah, it grew the Telegram sort of like 40,000 members. We had a lot of interest. Sort of had like 4.5 to 4.6 million committed,
yeah, wow.
and then basically just sort of pulled out, just due to sort of the legal frameworks in Australia at the time, and the way I'd set a few things up. But it was a blessing in disguise. It was a great learning
Yeah, you
experience.
learn. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
exactly. And that business sort of continued on. So basically, I dropped out of school, started year 12, continued scaling that up. And yeah, we eventually sold that business and sort of moved on into what I'm in now.
And is that business still around now?
Yeah, it's still around.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
So
it's
you
used by
sold it, yeah?
yeah,
Yep.
sold components of it,
Yep.
and basically stayed on as a minority shareholder. And yeah, that's still being used by Century 21 and a bunch of different sort of
Oh,
real estate
wow.
agencies over there. Yeah,
That's cool.
I don't know exactly how well it's performing now, but when I left it, it was in good hands.
Yeah,
So
wow.
yeah,
Man, your
Well
dad
done.
did the smartest thing ever, pull you out of school. That's what, like, I wish
yeah.
I had that. Like, because you got to learn, like, from a young age. Like,
Yeah,
I think these days too, it's just like the
what were we
the
doing
younger
at that age?
generation have so oh mate, who knows.
yeah,
But the younger generation these days have so much more, access to things, and opportunities, so
for sure.
so your
Yeah.
dad already sort of had that entrepreneurial bone in his body
Yeah,
kind of
well,
thing.
yeah, but he was very much not in the tech field at all. Very much just sort of in real estate. Worked really hard for a long time, and was sort of getting sick of it. It was kind of just by chance and by luck that I kind of fell into technology per se.
Mm.
But yeah, that was an incredible experience. I think, from my perspective, there's no way I'd probably be a very different person if I didn't go through those things and sort of, big credit to my old man for pulling me
Yeah,
out. My
that's
mum,
amazing.
supporting me
Yeah.
in doing my own ventures and trialing, because it wasn't all sunshine and rainbows. Just we lost a lot of money, and we made a lot, lost a lot.
Mm.
But the learnings are there forever, and that's sort of the premise, which I'll get into later. But the premise of now what I'm doing with Duncan McIntyre Group, obviously,
Yep.
still CEO of Growmofo, and that's my main focus and the main business I'm scaling. But the fundamental learnings, will be with me forever from a tech perspective.
Yeah.
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 So I think so just on that, like you said, you made a lot of money, you lost a lot of money, but the learnings are still there. And I think that's real powerful, you know what I mean? Because these days a lot of people are just too scared to start
Yeah.
and too scared to fail.
Yep.
And I think once you become more comfortable with that, and especially money's a tool, right? So
Yeah.
you can use it, it's there to be used as a tool. You'll always make more money.
Yeah.
You'll lose money, but you'll always make more money. And I think, like you said, it's pretty powerful saying that because it goes to show you that you've learned valuable lessons and skills that will last you throughout the
Yeah.
rest of your life.
And I think onto that, and that was going to be one of the things I was going to touch towards the end,
Yep.
but we can get into it now because it's a topic that I'm truly passionate about. And I think, most people, the fear of not succeeding and the fear of not, giving it a proper crack or feeling like they're not good enough to give it a crack is a reason why most people don't get started. But
Mm.
that was effectively, I was kind of lucky in a way that naively I fell into it. But, looking back now, that I would recommend to everyone to give it a proper crack,
Mm.
because you never know. Like, you never
100%.
know how it could turn out, and
That's the most
100%.
exciting part.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Just yeah.
And I think for a lot of people, especially like where we're all situated in Australia, like got so much opportunity to just, give it a crack, regroup, give it a crack again. And like, you're
A lot of
you're gonna
people
be all
stop
right.
though. A lot
Yeah.
of people try once and stop
Yeah.
and give up. But
Yeah.
But if you
I
give,
actually like, no, I won't say I like failing, but I like not succeeding because then I go, what did I learn out of this and how can
Yeah.
I improve next time? And it just gets easier and easier. And then you almost become not accustomed, but like it's learning experience. You don't look at it like failing anymore,
Yeah. Yeah. And like, I think that's a really interesting way of looking at it. Because like for me, my mindset, and I share this with a lot of close friends when I talk to them about what they're doing, and when they ask me about how I've sort of navigated through what I've done so far. And one of the things we always talk about is you got to be comfortable going to zero, and like if you're comfortable going down there, then and it gives you a little bit of a rush, like when you start doing it a few times, then you're gonna hit it out of the park eventually.
Yeah,
And
100%.
like I think where most people, one of the scariest things I think I see with like entrepreneurs who are starting out is like they tiptoe on the edge, and like that's when you actually don't get that far, because if you tiptoe on the edge and you don't actually fully commit and like actually risk to get what you want,
Mm.
then you're gonna be beaten by someone who will,
Yeah.
and they're gonna risk it, risk it
100%.
all, and
Yeah.
and that's I think becoming more prevalent even today. The competition in the world today is so fierce,
Mm.
especially with globalization and like I know, for example, for myself with my team now in the Philippines, which I eventually built up, like they're incredible developers and coders, on par with some people here that are multi six-figure salaries, but
Mm.
it's just through globalization you can access them. It's only been sort of the last 10-15 years that's
Yeah.
been possible.
Yeah, it's
I think
crazy, isn't
that's, yeah, but that's why you got to be like ready to fully crack it, give it a crack.
it? Mm.
So how did you start Growmofo? Like,
Yeah,
where did that all
yeah.
come
Yeah,
about,
talk to us about that.
or do you want to take it back further for
No,
Duncan
I
McIntyre
think
Group?
Growmofo is a great thing to chat about, because that's it's my passion, and it's something that really, like, I'll give you the story, but effectively when I was building Realista, which was the real estate prop tech startup, I started to get into marketing, because I had to market to get new customers, to start learning Facebook ads and doing all that sort of stuff. And it became pretty prevalent that unless you were really going to put in the hours to learn how to do marketing properly, you really have to use a service or of some sorts, whether it's an agency, or you have to get someone in house, or you have to get freelancers. But back then, sort of even only 5 years ago, that was quite difficult to sort of find the right people, and they were sort of commanding a lot of money and retainers and things like that. And I started basically looking at it as an opportunity to help the small business owner navigate everything else has become so easy and transparent, and the access of information today is very, very prevalent.
Mm.
But one of the things that I think was getting left behind for the small business owner was actually, how do I navigate marketing without engaging, a service that cost me thousands of dollars a month? And that was kind of an industry I saw ripe for disruption. So I was flying back from the US, and I was sitting on a plane. I was thinking about my next venture after Realista, and it was actually, when I was doing it, it was a medical cannabis telehealth platform. So this was a bit before Growmofo, but I always had Growmofo in the back of my mind.
Mm.
Um, the medical cannabis telehealth platform Pollen was simply just an opportunity that came up through a business partner that I was working with at the time.
Can we
But
just touch base on that?
Yeah.
yeah. So when
I'd love to
What
hear
is
that.
what is pollen?
yeah, so Pollen's a medical cannabis telehealth platform, also a holistic wellness platform.
Mm-hmm.
So covering a range of different things, not just cannabis.
Yep.
It's completely medical. It's got telehealth, prescription management, doctors on board, and effectively, I met my co-founders, and was able to be the tech piece. So effectively, I assembled a technology team, based out of my office in Richmond, but also over in the Philippines,
Mm-hmm.
and we effectively spent the next 12 months building that out. And I sort of rolled out a lot of the funding for that, and we basically built it. So and we're still a minority stake in that business, and that's been quite a successful venture for us.
Yep.
But really helping people, so focusing on I was always fascinated with telehealth and sort of natural medicines.
Yep.
So this was a really good alternative wellness access point that I thought we could bring into the market. So that's effectively where that started.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
cool. So when you say telehealth, it's they go onto the platform, book in a consultation
Yeah.
via like a FaceTime or something like that.
Yeah. So we built like a proper inbuilt like one-to-one doctor to patient FaceTime
That's
type
insane.
mechanism. And you can also take notes in there while you're in the video consult and stuff. It's a pretty
And
comprehensive platform.
you created this tech for it.
Yeah, we've created the
Yeah.
tech, and that was my involvement in the team. And yeah, that's been proven to be a massive success. So
Oh, wicked.
yeah, and that
Oh, So well done on that. And then so you got out of that, and then you obviously had Growmofo in the back of your mind.
Yeah. So
Yep.
it was in the back of my
Where'd you
mind.
where'd you come up with that name? I just want to know.
Actually, it's really funny. Because I was always thinking about disruption,
Yep.
and have you seen like VinoMofo? Like,
Nah,
like the
like
wine.
Mofo,
It's like the
Mofo's
wine.
short for
Yeah,
motherfucker,
yeah,
right?
yeah. It is. It
we,
is.
we all know that.
It is. No, so like
Yeah.
it was the wine. It was like a wine business, like famous wine online store disruptor in
Okay.
Australia.
So we're like direct, like online,
Yeah,
sort of
direct online.
like
Like
e-commerce
they
sort
really
of style.
disrupted. Yeah, they really disrupted a lot of like the wine space.
There was what's that one in Richmond, Direct Wines or something
Yeah,
like
it's so similar to that.
Okay,
But it was
right.
very much like you'd order like a select different mix to your house every week, stuff like that.
Yeah, wicked.
But they were like a massive Australian success story. It was only by coincidence I was watching that on the way back on this plane. I was watching their Australian success story, and then I was literally thinking about a name, and I was like, because I got burnt by these agencies who like charged me thousands and like direct debited my credit card when I said no. And like that was very much the tactics that were being used on a lot of business owners. I effectively thought about something a little bit disruptive and saw growmofo.com come up, and I thought, it's very suited to what we want, just literally grow motherfucker kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like just get on with it. And
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
a disruptive piece of tech that I think is really gonna take over the market in a lot of ways.
Yep.
How long has it been going?
Yeah, so we started. I'll go on with the story.
Yeah.
I basically, through the medical cannabis venture, Pollen, the wellness venture, I met my co-founder Sohan. So he was doing the marketing advisory for the business, and effectively he runs quite a large agency here in Melbourne and Sydney. And I thought, what, this is a really good fit for actually scaling this out. I could bring the technology to the table. He had the marketing experience and also the pain points of an agency, and he could see the market shifting. He was on the other side of the table per se, in terms of what I wanted to do. And we basically came together, and it was just a good fit. And that was about only a year and a half ago. So
Yeah, wow.
Growmofo's only been sort of incorporated for a year and a half, and we we toyed around a little bit. But when we were really getting started, and I think this is probably an interesting part of the story, we effectively, like, I was doing a little bit of we had to come up with money effectively.
Yeah.
To come up with cash to build this platform.
Yeah.
And I didn't have that much of it. I was all in different ventures. And he's very much running his own business. So I thought, ways in which we could come up with money, there's a few. So I thought, let's start building websites.
Yep.
So we started building websites, stuff that was easy for me because I'd already been doing it. And we did that. And then we started doing a little bit more. And then I started getting into ecom. And then like one day I saw, it's a funny story. I walked out of my office in Richmond. I saw a friend of mine, and he was selling like masks. And this was just when the pandemic hit.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, that's he's like, yeah, man, I'm running back and forth from the post office. I've been selling all these masks. I can't keep up with demand and all this stuff. And that was like literally probably 4 or 5 days into masks being mandatory. It was
So
at the
he was
very
just
start.
doing it, like selling them locally, or
Yeah,
through e-commerce?
Shopify.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Beautiful.
And I was like, man, that's awesome. And then I went back to the office, and I was like, I never built a Shopify really. Like, I'd played around with it, and I was like, there's probably an opportunity here. Like, I could easily do this. And we started straight away, literally building out this store. It's called Only Essentials. It's still running. And in our first month, we did 110K.
Yeah. Nice.
And then that basically from there, it scaled up to several hundred thousands where it's at now. But we basically used all that money to kick off Growmofo,
Yeah.
which a lot of people don't know about.
So it was just by seeing your mate out there.
It was just
and
one
he's-
of it was one of
It was
those
just meant to be.
it was one of those weird things, and it's one of those things that are definitely for the listeners always, when you see an opportunity and you have that gut sense of like, I could probably do that, or not to say just copy people all the time, but when you see things like that popping out at you, you should definitely take it, in a calculated way, because like, if I hadn't done that, probably would have been a lot harder slog than what it was to get where we were and where we are now. But yeah, so effectively started using that money to build up the technology. It's just me and Sohan, a lot of late nights working away on it. And yeah, we started getting our first few clients. We really launched it in January of last year.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been about a year, but not in its full form where it is now. It's very much just like an MVP, so minimum viable product.
Yep.
And we started getting on customers, and it started growing from there. And then we did a capital raise with some really, really cool investors who I'm lucky enough to call my mentors now. And yeah, we basically use that capital to scale it where it is now. We've got a team of 10 locally, 11 overseas.
Wow, that's awesome.
And yeah, we've got some really, really big clients like F45, 12 round boxing. Yeah, just a bunch of really cool clients now.
Next
So
level.
yeah, next level. Favorite client.
Favorite client. No, but it's I mean, like, well, I've only just joined up at the end of last year, so I haven't utilized the technology completely. But it is great technology, like
Appreciate that. Yeah.
especially from someone like myself who's got a digital agency where you can
Yeah.
manage clients and stuff like that, and the scheduler. Like, I
Yeah.
think that's the game changer with the whole technology that you've got. But
Yeah,
it's
appreciate that, man.
but yeah, it's and I think the beautiful thing about your company is it's universal, so it's
Yeah.
not it's not just one niche. You've got it could plug into any business, right?
Yeah, any business. Yeah,
Yeah.
we've got fitness businesses, hospitality businesses, trade businesses. Just yeah, really.
So
sort of-
essentially, you run the marketing that
Yeah.
through.
Yeah, so effectively we have a platform that does post scheduling, so you can set up your calendar well in advance.
Yep.
And then we also have an automated ads platform. So effectively you can run all your advertisements on Facebook, Instagram, Google,
all at once.
Twitter, LinkedIn, TikTok eventually as well. We're going to become one of the first partners with TikTok.
Yep.
You can actually run it all in one dashboard.
Yeah.
And not only that, you can actually choose from a range of audiences we've already pre-selected. So you basically become an ads expert
So
with
it's
a click.
like simplified. It's all in one
Yeah,
place.
yeah. It was basically like it is built for businesses who, whether you're a one-man band and you want to run all of your ads in one place and actually still get really good results because you're actually accessing audiences from an expert, which we've already curated for your industry.
Mm.
Or if you're, a super large business and you've got a marketing manager who needs a tool to execute multiple campaigns all at once, you can do that.
I think the thing that I liked, most about your product is y- when for anyone out there who runs Facebook ads or anything like that, as soon as you go into a business manager, it's very daunting. You don't know what the fuck you're looking at.
Yeah.
CPCs, like ROAS, all this stuff, and you're just like, it's very confusing for especially people starting an e-commerce brand or
Yeah.
business. You know what I mean? So I think with what you've done, you've put into a sexy dashboard
Yeah.
and just made it super easy. Like you
Yeah.
said, you've got all the algorithms there for all the ads and stuff like that. So it's a plug and play.
It's plug and play. Yeah,
It's
literally.
a beautiful piece of technology. So,
Yeah, and
That's what you want, a plug and play.
That's
Yeah.
it. That's it. So yeah, that's been the Growmofo journey so far. We're in a really exciting position. We've got clients in many different countries around the world now. So just my main focus every day is building that. So scaling it up.
that's amazing. So so what does the next sort of 12 months look like for yourself and Growmofo?
Oh, so I reckon heading into probably our next like funding round.
Yep.
Just based off the traction we've had so far, and really scaling up a team and scaling the technology to take on large volumes of clients, and just focus on growing that solution and offering for people that need it.
Yeah, right. So how
Yeah.
many clients have you got at the moment?
We're well over 100 now.
Yeah,
So,
wow. And then
yeah.
and what's the goal? What does that look like?
Yeah, and we haven't, and for a precursor as well, that's not even releasing our new tool. So these are all like high touch clients at the moment that are utilizing the tech.
Mm.
But we're about to launch probably in 2-3 weeks our beta, which is basically anyone can use it around the world for $99, and we've got a free scheduler. So anyone around the world can use the free scheduler, and it's
Is that
probably
n-
one of the best.
Is that
Yeah.
$99 a month?
That's if you want to do ads and
Ads,
a
okay.
premium scheduler, but you can use scheduler for free.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow.
That's cool.
So that's that's something we're working on at the moment. Yeah. So that's gonna really take it to a new level. Yeah.
That's super exciting.
It
man.
is. It is.
Very, very exciting.
What else are you working on? Do you want
Oh,
to share?
yeah,
Do you
yeah,
have,
yeah,
Do
I
you
don't-
have some other things
Yeah,
you're working
so-
on, or you're passionate about, or
Yeah. So probably the only other thing I'm really spending a lot of time and working on is Duncan McIntyre Group with my old man. So that's effectively we're developing some property at the moment. So like really, really cool sort of lifestyle lot type developments out in the west of Melbourne, and then we're looking at a few different things.
Yep.
So that's really sort of the only other thing I've been doing
So that's
in the
set up
background.
purely just for like it's like a property development sort of firm.
Yeah,
Yep.
but eventually the goal within Duncan McIntyre is to effectively build like a bit of a mini VC. So we want to be supporting new startups and investing in new businesses
Oh,
and
wicked.
support. Yeah, like my goal is by 25, I want to be well off the tools in terms of running a day-to-day business and just be looking for the next big hit.
Yeah,
and,
cool. So
the
sort of like a
next big person to support. Market.
so like a launchpad kind
Yeah,
of for
Launchpad. Yeah, and
startups.
give them the knowledge I had to learn through a lot of trial and error, and hopefully they can skip a few of those hurdles.
Yeah,
and,
beautiful.
cool.
And
That's
give
cool.
them the much needed cash to get their ideas off the ground if I think they suit the
Yeah.
mandate. So that's what I want to do by then. So focus on listing companies and mergers and acquiring different businesses.
That's amazing, dude. Well
Mm.
done.
Yeah.
S-
Congratulations.
So
bro.
what is
Nice guys.
so in terms of just back to Growmofo, in terms of scalability and stuff like that. So what does that look like in the future? Are you guys looking at like a potential IPO in the future, or
Yeah,
like what?
honestly, I think right now it's our focus is pretty laser clear in terms of just focusing on getting as many customers as possible, as many people on board, and down the track, who knows? It could be a range of different potential outcomes. But at the moment, I think like everyone's enjoying the ride.
Mm,
So I hope it doesn't get acquired or anything anytime soon.
yeah,
Probably a few years from now. But yeah, that's the main focus at the moment, just enjoying it and getting to the next level.
yeah, cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I think that's the most important thing about any business is like enjoy the journey.
Yeah.
Like enjoy it.
Oh,
And
you have to.
I know sometimes that's hard, but you really need to.
You have to.
Yeah.
And I think you have to also it makes it so much easier when you believe in your product. Like, with what I'm building Growmofo, I haven't even got it in enough hands for me to feel comfortable with saying the job's done.
Yep.
I need to see, I want to start seeing the impact of how people can really take control of their own, social media presence and do a really good job and grow their businesses, and actually change their lives a bit.
Yeah. How
In
do
some ways.
people find Growmofo?
Just growmofo.com.
Okay. Nice and
Yeah.
simple.
Easy,
Nice and
easy,
simple.
Nice and simple.
easy.
I just thought I'd ask.
No,
because,
I love it. No, it's a good one.
Just for the listeners so they know.
Love it.
So growmofo.com.
Yeah,
Cool.
Yeah.
So I mean, like we've talked about, all the success.
Yeah,
Can we let's talk about some of the low lights, because I just want it to
Yeah.
be raw and honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
what's
happy
the
to.
biggest challenge? Well, some of the biggest challenges that you faced being an entrepreneur or running Growmofo.
I think it's a really interesting one. Because I'm just thinking there's so many. But I think it's
What's one big event that sort of impacted you the most?
I think it's probably actually coming back from when I didn't have anything else to do from that first venture.
Mm.
I reckon it was sort of like the where do I
That
go
in
from
between.
here? Where do
Yeah,
I go from
right.
here? And that was that was quite difficult because I think also given my age and the way I was operating and the way I still, I've kind of, I wouldn't say loosened up a little bit, but I've definitely learned to not be as hard on myself as I used to be when I was younger,
Mm.
a little bit younger. But it was definitely that, just that sort of being harsh on yourself. And after that, because didn't really know where to go. And I think a lot of my identity for myself was very much, related to a project or projects at the time. So I think the hardest thing is, sort of when I was growing up, being so heavy in work, like all I did was work all the time. I really sort of only not stopped working, but like stopped going as hard and being so strict on myself about a year and a half ago,
Yeah.
or 2 years ago. But that was probably the biggest thing, like just learning, kind of get your own identity outside of what you do as work and kind of.
So did you feel like when you in that lull period, that period in between, that you had nothing because that was your identity?
Yeah, literally. So it's probably that's probably the hardest.
You find that hard? Do when you make something, those the businesses like you did, and then sell them or they just fizzle out? Does it feel like a part of you dies? Like, do you have that emotional attachment to the business?
Yeah,
Like,
I do,
yep.
definitely, and I think it's kind of part you know, attachment to the business, and then part sort of attachment to the journey. I
Mm,
think that's because you know, the stuff you were doing on the journey that you enjoyed and the stuff that you didn't enjoy, you can't do anymore. It's just a different version of it.
yeah,
Um,
right.
but yeah, I think that was probably the hardest thing for me, being completely honest. I
Yep.
think it's yeah, it was definitely finding um yeah, finding a lot of identity outside of just what I do. And you know, actually doing something different than that, because I wasn't doing anything else. You know, I didn't play any sports. I didn't really go out that much. That's only been
So you
more recently.
sacrificed all those teenage years for
Yeah,
working. Wow.
literally,
It
and
paid
that,
off.
yeah, it paid off. It paid off. Definitely, put me in a better position than if I didn't.
Mm,
But I think I'm really sort of starting to learn now how to balance that out a little bit more as well, because I've started to learn. Like, I turn 22 tomorrow, but like, I've started to learn that it is quite long. Like, I felt like it was short, and I had these you know, goals on me. I wanted to be here by this age. I want to be here by this age. And then I started to realize, you know, and really identify with the fact that it's not a race and you're on your own
Yes,
path.
mm,
correct.
And once I realized that, you know, a lot of things have kind of come into perspective now, because and it's actually made probably the work that I do put into projects better, because I'm not as
Yeah,
strenuous on myself.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's taking
yeah.
that weight off your
Yeah.
shoulders because you,
Yeah.
you put all that weight on your
Especially at a
shoulders.
young age,
Yeah,
man.
exactly.
It's 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 crazy. Like, did you ever get to points throughout the whole journey? Like, even with that ICO, like you said, managing $4.7 million, where you're just like, what the fuck am I doing?
Yeah,
You
no,
know,
no,
like,
yeah, man. And like, oh, there's plenty of times, like, there's really, really just like tough times
I
mentally,
bet, yeah,
where it's just kind of like, you know, fuck, is it ever going to work out?
yeah,
And, you know, and that's, you know, I've come to learn that no matter what level you think you're at, you still go through those things.
yeah,
Of
Like,
course.
and I think that's one of the things that's mellowed me out a little bit,
yeah,
because I've started to realize, you know, even once you do get to a certain level, you do start succeeding more, whatever you think you're doing, that's better than where you were previously when you're dealing with those things. Those topics are still going to come up. They're just different.
Yep.
mm.
So, and those feelings are still going to happen. It's just different. So,
It's all part of the journey, isn't it?
yeah.
It is.
And I
Mm,
think
It
that's
is.
that's the exciting thing with
yeah.
It's a
with,
cool
with
story, huh?
Yeah.
You got a very unique story. Like I don't know anybody that's been pulled out of school at like
Yeah.
15 years
were you any
old.
good at school, or were you just sort of like it
Nah.
just didn't? Did you always have that entrepreneurial sort of mindset, if you
Yeah.
will?
I think definitely. Yeah. I was always the kid volunteering at the coffee cart.
Yeah,
You know, I enjoyed running that little business.
yeah.
I was sort of 14, 15, doing all that stuff. So yeah, I definitely always had it in me
Do you think your
to a
dad sort of
degree.
helped drum that into you as well?
Yeah, I think so,
Yep.
definitely. But I wouldn't. Yeah, I definitely felt like it was quite natural,
Yeah.
probably, and you know, it's probably just being around, you know, my parents growing up or whatever, and listening to their phone calls and what they were doing. But yeah, I was very much always into business. I was always very much trying to do
Yep.
something, make a buck.
That's very interesting. That's
Were you buying things from the canteen and selling them
Yeah, I was
for
doing
extra?
all that. I was always doing,
You
I was
selling
doing all
for
that
extra
stuff.
in the playground?
Yeah, I used to skateboard a lot. I used
Yeah.
to skateboard a lot when I was really young, and I actually, when I was 13, I figured out what Alibaba was, and
Mm.
I got a bunch of skateboard decks sent over, and I used to sell those. So
fuck.
I was always doing stuff like, I was always doing
That's
that sort of
awesome.
I
stuff.
can tell. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
cool.
I think I think, yeah, it's always sort of driven
It's
that
funny,
way.
just back to what were you saying? Like your parents sort of having that entrepreneurial sort of mindset, and you listen to their conversations and stuff like that. And I think that goes back to you're a product of your own environment. You know what I mean? So it's
Yeah,
like if you're in it's like we've said on other podcasts, Nate, where if you hang around 5 people who are doing drugs, you're going to be the six. If you hang
Yeah.
around 5 people who are entrepreneurs, and you're going to be the six.
Yeah.
So I think like environment it's a
oh,
big impact.
environment's huge, and like, you know, I'm the first to say incredibly blessed
Mm,
for the family that I've had, and the support I've had, because yeah, like, you know, it would have made a lot of those times 10 times worse.
mm,
I can't imagine. So yeah, no, environment's massive,
yeah.
but I think you can also change your environment to a degree.
Oh, absolutely,
Yeah.
100%. I think that's the cool thing about life. I mean, Well, me and Nate have definitely done that, throughout,
Yeah,
we've
for sure.
we're fucking
Constantly adapted.
yeah,
like,
exactly.
and evolved. Yeah,
Yeah.
but you can. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's just your story is very interesting. I love it because it's just like like we've got a 10-year age difference, and
Yeah.
I know.
it sounds like such a huge amount of time, and it is. But it's just like for what you've achieved over such a short period of time, and I'm just like I'm super proud of what you've done and what you've
Appreciate
achieved,
that, bro.
and I'm just like it's just to get you on the podcast is really special to
Oh,
just
I
share
appreciate
this
you
with
guys having
everyone.
me on. Yeah.
Um,
I've never really explained it like this.
Oh,
yeah,
really?
Yeah,
Oh,
like
that's cool.
I've explained it bits and details to different people over time, but never like this. And yeah, no, I really appreciate giving me the platform to
that's
do
good,
that.
No,
man. I
that's good.
appreciate
Yeah, I
you
love
sharing
the
the
story.
story.
I love the story. Like,
Yeah.
it's really cool.
Yeah.
I've
Super
got
cool.
one more question for you. So as we are evolving into Web3, how does that affect Growmofo and your business and your outlook on Web3?
Yeah, for sure, for
Yep.
sure. And that's something I've been asked a lot, sort of because we're very much Web2 based advertising platform
Yep.
and scheduling platform. But I've always felt that there is definitely, and based off the conversations I have had with people within Facebook and stuff that's going on, there's definitely always going to be application for these sorts of aggregation type models.
Mhm.
So, whether that's utilizing not only you're going to advertise on Facebook 2.0, but you're going to advertise in the metaverse of Facebook, and then you can also get an API into Decentraland and Sandbox, and you can put ads there for small businesses if they want.
Wow.
I think that's definitely going to happen, and we'd love to be at the forefront of it. We are going to be,
Yep.
hopefully. I'm sure we will be, but very much I do believe it's going to be, there's a lot of, my personal opinion is a lot of hype right now about metaverse, where it's heading, and I'm chatting to a lot of our larger clients about the metaverse and how we can do applications within that. But I very much do believe that Web 2 is not going anywhere because there's half of the population doesn't even have internet.
Yeah.
So like I think there's elements of where I'd probably feel like the topic is a bit overhyped. And it is something I feel like a lot of people are getting on just to make sure they're on there in case.
Mm.
Like just in case, like I'm talking
Yeah,
brands
yeah,
and,
of course.
and
They-
stuff. They're going, hey, I
they
want to
will-
buy land in the metaverse just in case,
Yeah.
so I can have my store in there. There's definitely going to be applications of, people and mass communities joining those sorts of platforms. I do believe that, just like they are on Facebook 2.0 right now,
Mm.
and Instagram and all these platforms and TikTok. But yeah, I very much believe that there's going to always be application for both elements, and at least not for a little while. Like there could easily be a future where we're all in Oculus Rifts
Mm.
and we're sitting in the Decentraland and going, "Why would I touch a phone?"
Yeah.
But like,
I think
Yeah,
we're
until-
a few years away
Yeah,
from that.
I think-
like the metaverse stuff. Yeah,
I think we've got to. I think we've
Yeah.
got to have. I think there will always be an element of balance.
Yep.
Because it's just the way humans are. Some people simply won't like it.
Yeah.
So, that's sort of my opinion on it. And the business, has been set up in an aggregation model to always adapt. So, whatever we do think is the next thing for a business where they should advertise, we'll just plug it in.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And then whatever the formats they need to actually get into the metaverse and advertise, we'll provide them to them or give them the tools to do that.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
That's cool.
that is cool. Yeah.
And anything to do with NFTs? Your company looking at any like Growmofo looking at NFTs?
Thinking about we've got a bit of an NFT project in the works. For
Okay,
Growmofo.
cool.
Nice.
I think
That's exciting.
yeah, it's going to be very much in line with sort of potentially doing an NFT for companies who want services and in these realms
Mm-hmm.
in the metaverse and things like that. So definitely I'll keep you guys posted
Yeah,
on that.
keep us posted.
Beautiful.
So what, like holding the NFT will give them access to
Yeah,
that.
well, give them access to services
Service.
and the platform and
Yeah.
and the ability to maybe redeem a credit in different worlds to advertise. Who knows?
Yeah.
We're still working on it.
So,
but-
and you have like these conversations, around NFTs. Obviously, me and Nate are very into NFTs and
Mate,
the
I
whole
live
Web3.
it. I live in it. Like my life is consumed by
You live in a-
NFTs.
I know.
Your job title is live in a Discord.
Yeah,
Yeah, I know.
killing it.
I was
man. Killing
saying,
it.
I was saying in our last episode that I was awake for 30 hours last week from Wednesday 12 p.m. to like Thursday like 8 o'clock at night or something. Whatever the 30 hours was,
How?
just so
like
What, just high off the
indulge.
information,
Yeah,
basically?
no, just like in Crete. Well, it's Crepes. Like
Yeah,
I
but
was
that's
in
what
the
I mean.
beast.
You're
Yeah,
high off the
Just so much
information.
going on.
Yeah, just so much going on because it's a play to earn game, and you got to be active. And I wanted to have the best strategy, so I was like Rain Man. You seen that movie
Yeah.
when he's writing all the shit? That's what I was doing.
Strategizing.
Yes, full like strategizing and shit.
Yeah. So
Sorry,
back
I
to
digressed a
that's
bit.
right.
No, I love it.
Back to the question. I was just so obviously, with your clients and these are the discussions that these businesses are having.
Yeah.
It's like obviously like NFTs and whether it be crypto metaverse, this is all at the front of their mind. They're having
Yeah,
these
it's very
discussions.
it's very prevalent.
right.
I definitely get the vibe. It's still quite like on the back burner in terms of like focusing on normal operations, everything like that. But definitely, some of these larger organizations are having conversations about it. There's no doubt. Yeah, they're definitely looking into it.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I think it's
It's massive. It's going to be a massive disruptor, I think, especially in real life. Just the NFTs and the technology behind it and what you can do with it. It's going to be huge.
well, I think
I think it's so. This is another thing. I think the whole metaverse thing is a bit of a soul trap because they want people to live in a fake reality
yeah,
compared to what we have around us. That's in my
People-
opinion.
people
Like
are
it's a
doing-
bit of a soul trap because it's going to get people stuck in it and they won't want to leave the house. They won't want to. You know what I mean? That's only my opinion.
People are doing that on Web 2, though.
they're
You know,
doing it, yeah.
people
Gaming.
exactly.
gaming.
People
Yeah,
are sitting
gaming.
on Fortnite
Gaming's
forever.
the same kind of thing.
You know,
Yeah.
and it's people in lobbies and in servers, and I think that's essentially what the metaverse is. It's just how does it become more interactive,
Yeah.
But you're right. Like I think in the next decade, 20
not-
years, it's going to be like that.
I'm not even in the metaverse and it's a soul trap. I'm spending 30 hours awake
Yeah, that's it.
on the computer in front of the screen. So it's already happening.
Yeah.
But no, that's you've got a really unique story and I love it.
I appreciate it,
and
guys.
I don't regret anything I've done because I am where I am right
Yeah.
now. But like, I wish I had started when I was your age. Like, I've only started like in the last 3 years really getting my shit together. So like,
That's all right.
properly, yeah.
I think that's the beautiful thing. We're all on different
Yeah,
journeys.
exactly.
Yeah.
And I think it's just cool when, it's not that you compare, but it's just that you discuss your different journeys and just go, oh, you've done at this age. Oh, that's different to what I was doing at this age. And I think
Yeah.
that's the cool thing about it.
It is.
And it's just, like you said, you only just started 3 years ago. I mean, please, same for me. Partied for, I don't know, from 17 to 29. You know what I mean? So it was just like that was a big blur. But now it's like,
Mate, you came out partying.
yeah, well, that's it. The name Rowdy of big shoes to fill. So, but you know what I mean. So,
Yeah.
and I think that's a cool thing, especially with your story. Just it's different, and
I know. I love hearing.
and that's why we
yeah.
want to get yourself on this podcast and
Oh,
obviously
yeah.
more
You guys are doing
guests,
great.
just to share their journey and go, hey, we're all human. We've
Yeah.
all got different journeys. Doesn't matter if you're 30 or 35 or 40
or 50 or 60.
or 50 or 60, like you can still start. My uncle, he's 61 or 62, just started his first business
Yeah,
last
wow.
year
That's amazing.
and, turned over 300K in the first year,
That's awesome.
Yeah.
and that's what I want people to know. Like, it's never too fucking late. Like,
know.
60 is still young, man. Like, for me, the way I'm looking at it, I'm 31, coming on 32 in
It's
April.
young, man.
I'm looking at it.
Yeah, I'm young.
I'm 30. We're all young.
I'm young.
Young.
31% of life is complete. I'm living to 100. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah,
You know what
me
I mean?
too, bro. I
So-
told my dad. It's funny you said that. I told my dad that I'll live to 100. He's like, Nathan, come on, you're not living to 100. I was like, yeah, I am, Dad.
Yeah, that's
you
it.
watch me.
100%.
You watch me. You know what I mean?
And that's how you look at it, right? It's just like, mate, I'm fixating on the long term, like, and it's just a different mindset when, our conversation 3 years ago when it was, live fast, die young, or whatever it may be,
Yeah.
to now.
Yeah.
Mate, we're going to wrap it up.
Yeah.
Just one little last word. So for our listeners out there, with the podcast is called The Value Project, and we
Love
just
it.
want to, what's one piece of value that you could give to our listeners that they could take away?
Yeah, I was actually thinking about this when I was driving over. I would definitely say to just get started.
Just get started.
I know it sounds a bit cliche,
Yep.
No, I
but
love it.
I think get
But
started.
just take the plunge.
Just get started and you're never going to know where you're going to end up. So just get started. There's
See,
no,
and I think just on that, so when you say just get started, it's like if you got nothing, you got nothing to lose.
yeah, that's
You know,
it.
and if you just start, it's like anything, it just compounds over
Yeah,
time, right?
and risk a bit, and then risk a bit more, and
That's it.
and then hopefully you get the reward,
Yeah.
and you can keep going.
I love that value. I would say the same. I love
100%.
that you said that because it's the number one thing.
Yeah, just get started.
Just
Well,
get
I think we
started.
all say that. You know what I mean? We tell people just get started. So yeah, that's a very powerful bit of advice. It sounds like you said so cliche,
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's feasible in everything what we do in our lives. Is like, oh, I want to get fit and healthy. Well, you've got to start.
Yeah,
I want to start a
exactly.
business. Well, just start.
just start.
Yeah,
You
but
know?
like our listeners, like he's been in business for like 6 years in multiple businesses, and his one piece of advice or
Yeah.
for value is just get started. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's no other secret to it.
Yeah,
That's it.
Just
yeah.
get started.
The longer you
I
put
love
it off,
that.
the
Love that,
longer it's not
Duncan.
going to happen.
Yeah.
So,
I appreciate having me on, boys.
all right.
It's a really good thing.
Thanks for coming
Yeah,
on, man.
thanks for coming, bro.
We
We-
appreciate your time. So yeah, again, thanks for coming on. We just want to say thanks for everybody for the love and support so far. The feedback that you guys have all been giving us is overwhelming. We're grateful for each and every one of you for taking time out of your day to listen to the podcast. Please like, share, subscribe across YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcast. Thanks again, Duncan.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Okay, bye.
Peace,
Bye.
guys.